Nick, what are some games you really want to try to play in 2022?
It's 2023.
Oh, I did that thing.
You did the thing where you write the wrong date. You did the thing.
Oh, but now it's committed to video forever.
Here's like a 2 is kind of like a 3, so you might be able to.
I'm just gonna write it over.
Yeah.
These are games we want to play in 2023. That's right, it's 2023, I think. Hopefully, and it is time.
I'm weird in some lost time continuum over here. Yeah.
You never know, man. With the MCU, the multiverse, all that, it's all up in the air. This is 2023 games that we really want to try. Not now, I should say. These are games we really want to play in 2023. Not all of them. In fact, most of them are not from 2023. Although there's a couple of those sprinkled in.
Indeed.
These are games that it's like, man, if I could have 10 kind of goal games for this year, new and old. These are things that we really want to play. Whether it's we played them and haven't played in a while, an old classic we haven't tried, a game that's coming out. This is just a grab bag of things that we just kind of want to try.
Yeah.
All right, our number 10 is actually a game I've played before, but at this point, it'd basically be me playing the game again, and this is On Mars. You'll see Viva Lacerda pop up a couple times in this list. I feel like every Viva Lacerda game I've ever played, I've just not liked it as much as I wanted to, and On Mars at this point, it's been a couple years, and it's a big, heavy game, so at this point, I will be completely relearning the game. And On Mars of Viva Lacerda games has always been the one that's most interesting to me. One, because I think it just looks amazing, as all Viva Lacerda games do. They always look incredible, but it's just cool. I love space as in general. I love astronomy and stuff like that. I just like the concept of like terraforming Mars. That kind of concept is a really cool thing to me. And it's just a big Lacerda game. And every Lacerda game that comes out, I'm very interested in. And yet every single one I've played, I've always kind of been like, on. And so basically this entire list could have just been Viva Lacerda games, because I want to try them all again, because I've only ever played all of them once. And Viva Lacerda games are he's one of those designers where it's gonna benefit if you play either multiple Lacerda games or just the same game kind of multiple times. And so I really, really want to try On Mars again, because of all the Viva Lacerda games, it seemed like the one that was the most interesting to me personally. And I've always heard wonderful things about it. I know it's got an expansion, which I'd like to play as well. Probably not the first time we play it. We'll probably have to get one more play into it. But nonetheless, I really, really want to play On Mars again, because I just want to give it another shot. I really, really need to. And I don't know. It's just a game that intrigues me, as all Viva Lacerda games do. So On Mars is my number 10. So a game that I really want to try in 2023, because I got it, but we haven't had a chance to play it yet because it's a 4-player only game. This is Deal with the Devil. This has been on our kind of anticipated list for a while. And it's a game that I really want to find a time in this upcoming year to play. Now again, it's 4-player only, 4 players specifically, no more, no less. So we have to kind of curate a time to do that, because it's usually just Nick and I in this here studio, and that is half the amount of players that we need. This is a kind of, it's not a social deduction game, although there are social deduction elements in it, where there's someone who's playing the devil, a couple people playing cultists, and then a normie who's just trying to walk and live life and build up this city. And you are trading around souls, parts of souls and things, to get resources and stuff like that. And it's a really interesting theme, because you might have a deal on the table to sell parts of your soul. You don't know who the devil is, but you maybe have an idea of that. But maybe if I sell these parts of my soul, I get this big hit of resources, helps me build up cities and works toward my end game, because ultimately this is a Euro game. You're trying to do a bunch of building and stuff and managing those resources. And if you can figure out who's who, that might be helpful, just so you have like a little more idea of like who you're dealing with, but it's not ultimately the goal in the game. Everyone has their own specific goals within the game itself. The cultists, of course, are trying to willingly sell as much of their soul as possible and maybe get some souls from the humans and bring them over and sell them to the devil and things like that. So there's a lot of interesting elements, but I love the fact that you have all this kind of strange intrigue kind of laid on top of a second layer of an ultimately kind of like mid-weight Euro game. That's rad. I love that. So I like that you still at the end of the day want to build a city. That's something that makes me very happy in my own personal gaming tastes. So Deal with the Devil seems to add a lot of really interesting flavor to that. Number 8 is a game I was instantly interested in just because of the theme, and that is Septime. Septime is by Mindclash Games, and they have a great reputation for making these big, heavy Euro games that are also really, really thematic. And Septime is this cool looking game where you are essentially, you're a witch and you have a witch's coven and you are essentially trying to kind of take the place of like High Witch. That's what you're trying to do. And you're doing this through a whole bunch of different action. It's kind of like a simultaneous action selection system. And you are going around and you can like you can recruit other witches into your coven to grow it. You can like heal the townsfolk. You're making potions, you're casting spells, you're doing all this kind of cool magic-y witch stuff. But also if you do too much witch stuff, it can make the townsfolk suspicious of you because they're just like, oh, witches and magic is bad. And it just seems very, very cool. And I know this is a big, heavy game, and big, heavy games with like a really cool, really well integrated theme is like my absolute, like, that's my favorite kind of game. I absolutely love this. One of the reasons why I want to like a lot of Vita Lacerda games, because they tend to be big, heavy Euro games with really cool themes. And Septime, even though it's not Vita Lacerda, Septime seems so freaking cool. And from the moment I heard about it, I was like, I need to play this game. And we have a couple friends who got to preview it, I believe, and they all really, really liked it. And so this is a game that the second we can play it, we're gonna go ahead and do it, because Septime just sounds like just so right up our alley. Number 7 is a Trajan. That's it. Stefan Feld game we own and have had for quite some time. It's not Nick's favorite game. I will admit that it looks a little plain, but I really like it. I love the Mancala system of trying to get all of your little, I guess, hexagonal cylinders into the right action space to make use of everything. And I like what you're doing. It's ultimately kind of simple actions. You're kind of putting some troops out onto a board and moving around areas of the map. You're doing construction, this little abstracted part of the city. And I think for some people, that's where it kind of, you know, I don't want to say falls flat, because it's obviously mechanically so good, but it really is kind of a classic Stefan Feld game in that, like, it's mechanically really great. And that's sort of, you know, the thing. That's the important part, right? And the window dressing is leaves a little to be desired. I actually like the look of Trajan myself, so I'm not bothered by that. So I really want to find an audience to play Trajan with, because it's so interesting working that Mancala puzzle and trying to get all your pieces in one spot, but spreading them back out and everything like that. And I actually find it really kind of brain-breaking in that way, and I'm not very good at that. So I want to be able to play this game a little bit more so I can start to try to maybe get better at the game. So at least once in 2023, Trajan, I want you to hit the table. Number 6 is really kind of a twofer, but this is a Terra Mystica / Gaia project, because they're very similar games. I've always wanted to play Terra Mystica ever since we kind of got into the hobby. I love dwarves, I love fantasy themes, although I know the fantasy theme is very like, kind of there. You're kind of like the classic dwarves that are discs kind of thing. But I really always wanted to play Terra Mystica. For some reason, it's always just had this kind of like, I don't know, I want to play it. We recently got to play Terra Nova, which is actually right here on the shelf. We got to play Terra Nova, which is kind of like an intro to Terra Mystica. And we really liked it a lot. It was very, very cool. And so we wanted to play Terra Mystica. And then we also want to play Gaia Project, because Gaia Project is like Terra Mystica in space. And we know there's some differences, but for the most part, a lot of people tend to like Gaia Project more. And so both of those games I really, really want to try, because they're just kind of like big, heavy Euro games. They just seem right up our alley. We've always just heard such good things about them. And particularly with Terra Mystica, again, for some reason, I've always just been very, very intrigued by it, and yet never got it to the table. This last year at Dice Tower West, we were planning on playing it with Mick and Starla from Our Family Plays Games, but we just ran out of time. We didn't get a chance to. So we actually had a time plan to play Terra Mystica, and it ended up not happening. So I really, really want to get Terra Mystica played in 2023, because I just always wanted to. Number 5 is a game that hopefully will be hitting in 2023. This is Empire's End by John D. Clare. We are big John D. Clare fans. Everything that John makes, we tend to enjoy. Space Base and Onward, Dead Reckoning, and so on. And this one is all about our empires crumbling and falling apart. It's the kind of sad days of Rome and things like that. And so this game is a reverse bidding game. Instead of paying money to hopefully gain something that's really great, you are paying money to basically stave off destruction for as long as you can. There's famines and fires and all sorts of things happening. So I love the idea of reverse bidding game, something like a No Thanks, really classic, simple reverse bidding game where you'll pay money desperately to not take something. I think that creates a lot of intrigue and something that, like, it does the same thing essentially of like putting down money and stuff like that, but like now, you know, you are trying to see like what am I willing to pay to avoid this thing that we know is ultimately in a game like Empire's End coming. Like your civilization will fall. It's about how long can you stretch it out before that happens. It's an interesting theme, which then works really well for the kind of mechanism of reverse bidding. So it's something I really want to try. Again, John D. Clare for me has earned kind of like an instant pass. Like they make a game, I would like to play that game, guaranteed. So this one is cool. It's got Kwanchai Moria art, which always helps. It's beautiful. I really want to try Empire's End.
Number 4 is just sheer curiosity, and that is Alchemists. Alchemists, we've always heard wonderful things about. It's a big CGE game, and it's because this game, for some reason to us, is very like mysterious, I guess I should say, because this is a big, really thinky deduction game where you're like alchemist, you're trying to find out like trying to find out the ingredients like this potion, some of that, but it's a big deduction game, but it's a really big, long, heavy deduction game. And I'm just so curious about it. And we've heard about it for years. We have a lot of people we know that really, really love Alchemist. We've almost gotten to play it a couple times. We've almost just bought it straight up a whole bunch of different times, and we never actually have. So we've never played Alchemist. Apparently we have a plan this year at PAX Unplugged. One of our friends who we always see at PAX Unplugged, every year he brings a new game to teach us. This last year he taught us Stockpile, which is a game I've always wanted to play, really liked it. So he's like, okay, next year I'm bringing Alchemist, we're gonna learn that one. So I was like, okay, cool. So I think there's something on the books to play this game at the end of the year, at the very least, but I really wanna play Alchemist. It's just, I don't know, I love CGE games. I love the designer of Alchemists. They do really cool, kind of outside the box, really heavy stuff. And it just seems really cool. I love the art style. It's got the same artists as like Dungeon Lords and Dungeon Pets, which is one of my favorite kind of art styles in a game. And I just think it's really cool. And we've almost just straight up bought it multiple times because we're both just so curious about it. So Alchemist on the list because, I don't know, I just want to play it. And it has to get played this year.
Number 3 is a game that I'd really love to try, as we are kind of interested in trying Vito Lacerda's games more often, as you've seen in this list. This is Kanban EV. This is one that I feel like we've tried a few Vito Lacerda games and have enjoyed them, although they're just heavy and we haven't ever been able to replay them. This is the game that I feel like will maybe be the lock point where we like go like, oh yeah, I get Lacerda games now. This is really cool. And hopefully we'll get the ball rolling on trying more and more Vito Lacerda games and maybe falling in love. I'm open to it in 2023, why not? This is a game all about running a car factory. You're trying to assemble cars and you are trying to be kind of as efficient as possible with everything, because you might have supply chain issues where the suppliers are now coming up short, so you have to make use of like recycled materials. You're trying to keep everything running and run a really efficient factory essentially. This is something that like I think is a cool theme. Kanban obviously did the same thing. This is the newer version, but I like the idea of kind of the efficiency of factories and how do we, you know, make everything kind of as smooth as possible. I think that's perfect for a board game because board games are often efficiency puzzles. So I like that this game is kind of set in a location where I think there's a real life like hook in. We understand that that's how factories work, even though like I've never worked at a factory and I don't know personally from a boots on the ground perspective of how factories work. I understand the concepts and things like that. So this one, I think having that kind of thematic hook in will really help us maybe deal with the kind of heavier mechanisms side of things and might really kind of be a great experience. I've heard a ton of great stuff about Kanban and Kanban EV, so I can't wait to try it. If anyone out there is willing to teach it to me, I'm ready. We're ready to go. Like, let's do it. Let's do it. That's Kanban EV.
Our number 2 is a game that I've wanted to play for a while, but recently I've started wanting to play a lot more, and that is Meadow. Now, Meadow, the reason I want to play is because, one, it just looks very, very cute. I've heard it's a very good kind of like light medium game, kind of puzzly game in that kind of beautiful nature setting that a lot of games are set nowadays, which I'm totally fine with because I love nature and I love these kind of pretty games. But the main reason I want to play Meadow is because, one, I've heard very good things about it from a lot of people that I really like. I know Alicia from Black Board Gaming really, really loves Meadow, and a lot of her games that she likes, I tend to like as well. So I'm like, okay, I'll probably like Meadow. But I really like the game Quadropolis. Quadropolis is right here, actually. I really like Quadropolis because it's got this really cool actions, really cool tile selection system. And I think it's really, really great. And I've always said multiple times in multiple videos, both on BGG and our own channel, like, God, I wish some other game would use this tile selection system because it's really, really good. And recently we've been getting a ton of comments being like, hey, Meadow does the same thing. Meadow does the same thing. So I'm like, oh, okay. So Meadow does the thing that I've been wanting on top of the fact that this looks like a cool game. So I'm really, really excited to try Meadow because I've always wanted another game that did the action selection system that was in Quadropolis. And apparently it's in Meadow. So I really, really want to try Meadow. I'm gonna try to get it played this year. I don't know when, I don't know anybody who has it, but nonetheless, I really want to try it. Meadow seems really cool. It's our number 2.
All right, number 1 is Trois. This is a classic game that's very highly rated from 2010 that I just feel like we should have played this by now. This is very much, it took us a long time to play something like Castles of Burgundy. So this feels in that same vein of like, this is a game that everyone agrees is a classic, like a modern classic, I mean by that. And it does a lot of stuff in games that I like you're trying to manage a city and combat misfortunes and have your underlings, which are dice, and you have a hand of cards. You're trying to like do as much good stuff as you can. So I kind of have a good feeling about this one. Like, I think if I play Trois, I'm gonna really enjoy it. So why haven't I just played it already? You know, like I have just a good feeling. Like sometimes you can get wary about a game you've heard so much about and you haven't played it yet. We had that again with Castles of Burgundy. Like, is it gonna be that good? Is it possible? It's been so built up. And then you play it and you're like, yeah, that's a classic for a reason. Like, that's a great game. Like, it's earned all of its praise and all the different expansions and iterations, including the newest one that's come out, like, makes sense. I feel like Trois is the same. I could be very wrong about that. I'll never know until I play it, but that's one that I'm like, this is too high up in the rankings and it's been in front of my face for too long. I mispronounced this name for way too long and been corrected to have not at least played it. I at least know how to say the name of the game. I should probably play it now so I can tell you definitively how I feel about playing the game. That is Trois. Number 1, hope to get it on the table this year. We'll have to track it down, but I'm sure someone will be very willing to teach it to us.
So those are 10 games that we want to try in 2023 for whatever reason. Some of them are older, some of them are like, I played this once a long time ago, but now I need to try it again.
Happen again, yeah.
And some are just like that new hotness, like this game sounds cool, I want to try it. But yeah, there's a couple times we tried to make plans to play these games, and sometimes we do, but sometimes we don't get a chance. So this year, if we're at conventions, we're like, I'm gonna try and get this played. I want to play this game.
We're putting our intentions out there.
Exactly.
All right, so if you've heard these games, you like these games, teach them to us if we run into you at a con or something. We're looking.
That would be ideal. If you specifically taught them to us, that'd be great.
Please teach us them.
Let us know down in the comments below. What's a game you're trying to get played in 2023? Could be new, could be old, doesn't really matter to us. Just let us know down in the comments below. And until next time, I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
We're the Brothers Murph. We'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.